young, the night's young, the night. The night's young, the night's young, the night's young, the night. The night's young, the night's young, the night's young, the night. The night's young, the night's young, the night's young tonight.
If I ride with you, then we gonna break all our rules. Get crunk, my crew is gonna get wild and we not giving a fuck. We bout to start a riot, go crazy, get buck. It's 4 AM but we still out terrorizing the whole town. And we ain't gonna stop until the sun comes out. We gonna break it down, shake the ground. If you fly, yeah you know it. Let the whole world know you own it. And set it up tonight. I'm gonna do my dance and I don't even care for my calling bags. And we gon' make a movie, call it Girls Gone Wild. And we gon' act a fool till we go out in style. Cause we gon' tear it up, we gon' lose it tonight. The night is young, the night is young, the night is young, the night. And we gon' tear it up, we gon' lose it tonight. The night is young, the night is young, the night is young, the night. If we go all night, then what you gonna do when it's time to ride? Talking cheap, but I'm gonna put up a fight. I'm about to go toss and be